Hello, English 109. I am making a video of a few comments regarding the Medea discussion board. The first thing that I want to say is it has to do with the ideas of justice and vengeance. And some of you noted that there are some definitions that we sort of go by regarding those two. And some of you noted the idea that justice is what is right and vengeance, it has to do with punishment oftentimes. And I just wanted to add that there can be a very thin line between those two. And that thin line, for instance, displays itself in certain societies as the death penalty debate about whether or not is that punishment or are we seeking revenge when we sentence somebody to death. Now, ironically, Medea calls for Artemis, who is the goddess of justice, and she doesn't wait around for justice. She goes ahead and heads straight for vengeance. And oftentimes there is this discussion about whether or not vengeance is then motivated by emotion and justice is perhaps motivated more so by logic. And sometimes justice can take a long time, whereas vengeance can be swift. And so those are some things for you to think about when you think about justice and vengeance, because they're not gone for the semester. They will reappear throughout some other works that we will look at. The next one has to do with the ideas of cosmos and chaos. And cosmos is when everything is in balance and everything is in order. And chaos is, of course, the opposite, when things are not in balance and they're not ordered. And the Greeks very much believed that that we should be seeking that sort of balance, and that excess in anything was bad. So even if it's something good like love, you wouldn't want to love too much, because if you love too much, now you're moving into this imbalance or this chaos rather than in this area of balance or cosmos. And so you will see this reappear certainly coming right up in the Renaissance play that you will watch, which is Hamlet. And you'll even hear Hamlet say something on the order of this, that the time is out of joint, O cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right. Now, that gets into a couple of main ideas that come from the classical ideas. And they are, first of all, the time is out of joint. That sounds like chaos to me. Things aren't in their natural order. And so the time is out of joint. And then he says, "O cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right." And that indicates that some idea of predestiny or destiny or fate, whichever one of those you want to use to refer to it. The idea is that there's really nothing that could be done about it. This was preordained before my birth, that I'm going to have to deal with this. And you hear the nurse say that about Medea as well. The nurse says that this was predestined, that she was predestined, fated to love Jason, that Jason was fated to betray her, that she was fated then to kill her children. And so you'll see that reappear when you watch the Renaissance play. And that's not really surprising, because in the Renaissance period, the classical Greek texts were being found, and they had been protected in the monasteries during the medieval period, and they were being brought out, read, considered, and things like that during the Renaissance period. The next thing I wanted to talk about had to do with the innocents. And by innocents, I mean those who are innocent. So for instance, in Medea, certainly the children didn't have any impact on the decisions that were made here, and yet they suffered. And likewise, the people of Corinth were thrown into chaos because of the decisions made. You decide which decisions cause it. The decisions made by Creon, the king of Corinth, or Jason, Medea. You know, where did that come from? But anyway, these powerful people made decisions that created chaos, and the innocent suffered. In addition, I wanted to talk a little bit about the princess herself. Is she innocent, for instance? Well, it depends on your analysis of that character. And I think Euripides gives enough to go a couple of different ways with it. First of all, this play has a lot of feminist commentary. So you might say, well, why wouldn't he be showing that the princess, as another female in this play, is powerless, and that she's essentially a pawn for Jason and her father, the king? Now, at least according to Jason, the king favored him and wanted him to be his son-in-law, and wanted him to take power eventually. And Jason certainly wanted that power because he's very ambitious. So they worked up this deal, and maybe the princess had no control whatsoever over her own destiny or fate, or at least what would befall her. And so, you know, possibly that's one side to the princess. But there's another one, and we hear about her. We never see her, but we hear about her through some other characters. For instance, we hear from Medea. Medea claims that if she sends the golden garments, the princess will put them on, and she will peacock around, and she will look in the mirror and watch herself, and all of this. And in a sense, Medea psychologically manipulates the princess because she understands something about her that she will react in a certain way if she receives those garments. And then the nurse comes back and says that what Medea said would happen actually did happen, that the princess put the garments on and was going back and forth and looking at herself, and, well, you know the rest of that story. Bad things happened. And so it's possible that there's a little bit more to the princess than what we think. We also hear from Jason that she will do whatever he wants her to do. And so he tells her that he really wants the children to stay, and he pleads with her that she should love anybody that loves him, or that he loves. And so eventually she will do exactly what he asks her to do. But then Jason also thinks that any woman will do exactly what Jason wants her to do. Indeed, Medea has done so much for him, as you know from reading all of the other preliminary information. She's done so much for him. But he says that he had the favor of a goddess, and that goddess made Medea do these things for him. So he doesn't even give her credit for having a mind of her own. Instead, he suggests that she was just a tool of the goddess to help him. So you get a lot going on there, and you'll see some of these same ideas coming back out in the Renaissance period. You certainly will see some cosmos versus chaos. You will see the line between justice and vengeance, and Shakespeare questioning that as well. You will see the innocent being harmed by this radiation outward of some of the chaos that others create. And you will certainly see some other things with women as well. So you've got a lot of that coming up. That's it for this discussion board. I will see you soon. Bye.